Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another bite-sized news piece, this time looking at some answers from the question and answers section from the 33rd Korean producer live letter over in Korea, and also some answers from a Korean media outlet as well. This is all courtesy of Meoni, who posted this translation helpfully on the translations and live letters tab of the Final Fantasy subreddit Discord, so be sure to check out the link in the description of this video. Either way, let's jump straight into the information. So the first section is regarding skills. Apparently they will not be implementing the simplified skill system used in PvP into PvE. For some reason somebody asked that, I don't know why. They will also not be adding excessively more skills, but to deal with the issue of growing skills, they will be swapping out and replacing skills that are not normally used or used at low frequency, which is done every time as a major patch or expansion anyway. They are also looking into implementing a system where one can tell how much damage players can withstand when barriers are applied by healers, by just looking at the numbers, which is pretty interesting. Now on to glamours, housing and other content. Glamour dresser updates. They do plan to add either the amount of slots available or allowing more places to have access to glamour dresses. They will implement this by looking at the server situations beforehand. Somebody asked if they can have a portrait of Americ in their house, and apparently regarding this, Yoshi P will let the art producer know about it, and provided the art producer does not forget the drawing method, they'll put it in the game. Yoshi P also answered a question relating to people wanting fishes to swim around ponds in your outdoor furnishings. Apparently they'll be passed onto the dev team, so we might be getting fish for our outdoor areas, which would be awesome and more immersive. Now onto some system changes and ideas. Apparently Ishgard will not create a grand company yet. The key point in Aluna's write-up is in bold, so specifically I think that's how it was said as well. Apparently they're planning on creating and implementing some new gameplay elements related to Ishgard. And apparently, though they did not plan on adding Gatherer or Crafter related beast tribes for the Kikirin in Girabanya, that position is already taken by Namazu, so the whole proposal is now a blank white paper, i.e. gone. Apparently they're planning to implement a warning system where it will warn the party about having fewer or no chests available if there is someone in the party who has cleared that particular savage floor, which I think should have been in the first place. Yoshi P does think Estinian will have a role in future content, so that answers that question. Apparently they're looking at an implementation of a feature where one can preview paid items, the Mog Station cash up items. Apparently that's currently under review. That would be incredibly useful, so you can actually try, so to speak, before you buy. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. There may be adjustments planned for the main quest roulette rewards, including shortcuts and shortening of that main storyline, because they want people to be fast-tracked to the current content instead of having to go through that main storyline slog, other than just obviously through the cash shop purchasing a skip. They will be adding more gameplay contents to gatherers, crafters and fishers in the future, just not yet, probably in 5.0 I would imagine, and there are plans to improve the accessibility of Chocobo saddlebags to make it even more convenient to use. Now on to job balancing. Yoshi P does not understand the opinion of how it's harder to play melee DPS than playing a long-range DPS. However, if it's about purely mastering the aspects of dealing damage or DPS whilst dealing with mechanics at the same time, then melee might be harder to do in this department. Apparently, even though there are still some anxiety seen still in impressions and so on, but after buffing pure DPS jobs for 4.4, they saw the data and found that Samurai's participation in raids got a huge spike as a result. Regarding monks, they're always included in the world-verse early progression groups in raids and have both the synergy and mantra, so monk in their eyes is pretty much stabilized. The all jobs usage ratio between balanced and average does not equal good job balance apparently, and ninjas may feel anxious if they look at Samurai's buffs, but Yoshi P would like players to understand that it's not about balancing a job purely by looking at DPS. On to Dragoon's piercing down effect. He does acknowledge and is aware of the synergy relationship with range-based DPS, and aware that synergy relationship with range-based DPS is so huge that it affects the flexibility of party recruitments, so he might look into fixing that problem. On to other changes. There are currently no plans in making a smartphone version of 14. I'm not really sure why they would do that, probably because they've done it with every other part of the franchise. And the stagnant period of MMORPGs is already over. Apparently the first generation of MMO players are now returning to the MMO scene, in particular Final Fantasy XIV, and as a result there are no plans to make Final Fantasy XIV a free-to-play game at any time in the future. Included, first of all, looking purely from the perspectives of a global market, market. Basis of that statement lies in how the number of new users joining the world of Final Fantasy XIV has increased. Although they cannot reveal the exact number nor the details of those numbers, he saw that there are so many users coming back to the PC version of the game. First of all, the first generation users are seen returning. Generally this covers about the generation of aged 40s. By looking at this play pattern, although they could not play the game as passionately as before, they have demonstrated a sufficient amount of play patterns by utilizing their free time. Most likely this is a result of growing age, obtaining a stable position in society, stable personal financial situations, and having their child gradually growing up. Those users also ended up influencing the game design of Final Fantasy XIV due to this result as well. If one were to look at past MMORPGs, the image was about the more you spend your time, the more you get stronger. But for Final Fantasy XIV today, as long as you play it with your free time, you'll be able to clear almost every content available, and the design principles have been changed to cater to that. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. That wraps up all of the interview questions from both the Korean live letter and that of the Korean interview outlet, which is really interesting to see how they've changed the sort of target audience of the game and who they're catering to. I'm really interested to see what you think about this, so do not hesitate to let me know below. Whether or not it's the right thing to do by just looking at those sorts of numbers. Either way, thank you very much to Aluna Minori and the rest of the Final Fantasy subreddit Discord team. Go and support them like I say in the description, and I'll see you all next time.